What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? And welcome back here today to episode 20 of the Just Ballin' podcast. My name is Matthew Geist, and yeah, we are now a fifth of the way to 100 episodes. But yeah, we are here on episode 20, and we have some stuff to talk about because last time, in episode 19, we were talking about the MVP race, Kenny Atkinson getting fired, Zion balling out, and now there is nothing to talk about current NBA play because the NBA has been suspended indefinitely. I believe that the immediate report was 2 weeks, but obviously this is getting bigger and bigger with the coronavirus. So it's looking like we might not see the NBA till mid-May, beginning of June, possibly in July. And apparently this is only going to get worse. I'm no expert. I've been keeping up to date on it, but I've heard that it's only going to get worse and worse, and the worst to come is probably in the middle of the summer. So the NBA season might get canceled, which would be crazy to think about a whole season getting canceled. Maybe they're going to pick up the playoffs at one point, or they're just going to scrap it depending on the timing. But yeah, I'm going to talk about all this today, kind of the future schedule, something that Bobby Marks of ESPN tweeted about what it could look like, and then kind of what's future to come on the podcast. So yeah, to talk about the NBA currently getting suspended, what Bobby Marks came out with, or he tweeted the other day. It was kind of the new updated schedule if you lay it out. So mid-June is the start of the NBA playoffs, and I think that might be the best case scenario. I think the MLB is looking to possibly start in mid-May. I know in the middle of, I think May, beginning of June, the CDC recommended maybe by then you could have venues or events with only 50 people. And you think about this, maybe players on the reserves can't go because then you can maybe get down to 12 players a team instead of having 15 on the court. But say you have 15 on the court, that's 30 per team. Let's say you can put 7 coaches out there because you might not have advanced scouts anymore. But honestly, yeah, so you would have 30, let's say 10 each. That puts you near 50 for just coaches, and then you have to add refs, scoreboard, camera crew, trainers. Like, it gets a lot. It gets high up there, and I'm sure you can probably have, if you test everybody, you can kind of lay each other out throughout the stadium. Like in section 110, you have 2 people up in the bottom of the section, then you can kind of put 2 people in each section. I feel like that's a good enough space between teams, and I feel like they could definitely work that out because obviously there'd be no fans if this were to happen. But let's say the season, probably best case scenario at this point, starts in mid-June. So I think you just got to cancel the regular season. I think if you're going to play the regular season, or they wanted to get to 70 games, it's just going to be too much. I think you just end the season right now. Yes, it sucks. It seems like the Blazers, the Pelicans, maybe the Wizards that were fighting for a playoff chance, but this is just a different circumstance that we have never seen before in the NBA, or at least in our time or our lifetime. So I think you got to cancel that. Teams will obviously understand. It wasn't your year. If you weren't in the playoffs right now, maybe you don't deserve to be in it. But yeah, I think we played more than half the year. We played almost 2/3 of the year. I think you just got to end the regular season. Yes, it does suck for the teams on the cusp of making the playoffs, but you have to realize the circumstances here. And if you want kind of this to not be blown out and have to play the playoffs in August to start it, then you just got to end the regular season now. It sucks, but it's just what it's come to. So you start the playoffs in the middle of June, and then you end the most of the playoffs in early August. So you have the finals in the early August. So right after the finals end, you have the NBA draft. Now, honestly, as much like his front office is different from coaching staff, I wouldn't be opposed to having the draft during the playoffs. I mean, obviously that's a little hectic, but if that's what it comes down to, I don't think that's the end of the world because obviously the front office is watching their teams play, and then you would have maybe one night dedicated for the draft because the front office isn't making moves throughout the playoffs because trades are done. You can't add anybody. Obviously, if an injury goes down, you have to call somebody up, but you can mainly have your scouting department, your analytics department, and your just overall draft department worry about the draft. And I don't think that would happen, the draft being during the playoffs, but if it came down to timing, wouldn't be surprised. But he has, at the end of August, we have the draft. September 1st, so literally right after the draft, free agency. Usually the drafts are around like June 20th, free agency around June 30th, July 1st, so there's a 10-day gap. This might only be a day or two. So you start free agency on September 1st. September 10th, you have the Summer League, which would technically be the Fall League. Well, actually, September 10th is still the summer, so you have the Summer League. December 10th, training camp opens, and then December 25th, the regular season opens, and then the NBA would be an 82-game season still, and you'd play from December 25th, so the start of that, to mid-June. Now, this has been rumored to go to this schedule. A lot of people have kind of want this for some time now, just because this avoids conflict with the NFL, and you can kind of play in a market in mid-June where you can end, where NFL's done, NHL's done, and it's kind of just you and baseball, and obviously baseball's kind of played more during the day sometimes, or I wouldn't say more during the day, but obviously the NBA would outperform the MLB, and this would definitely suck for the MLB because obviously during the summertime, it's really just baseball that's on when non-Olympic sports are going on. But yeah, speaking of Olympic sports, this would really throw a wrench in there just because, let's say, mid-June the season ends, and then you start the playoffs in mid-June, and then it ends in the middle of August or the beginning of August. Yeah, how are players going to play in the Olympics? They're not going to be able to. So only players that can play in the Olympics can't make the playoffs in the NBA. So yeah, you would have like your Devin Bookers, your Karl-Anthony Towns, but that means LeBron won't be able to play. That means like Giannis won't be able to play for Greece, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that is obviously one conflict there that I don't know if the Olympics would maybe sign off on that, or just I like obviously maybe the board wouldn't want that because they would maybe lose money from the Olympics. I don't know. But yeah, I think this is definitely an interesting way to do it. But I think, personally, I would start the playoffs immediately. So we're going to start the playoffs in mid-June. I think I would go through this schedule. And honestly, just due to the whole coronavirus, like obviously this is the biggest thing in like kind of our lifetimes when it came to sports. I'm all for ending the season short this year, starting the playoffs, and then trying to start the season on time next year. Or let's say you start it in December, but like act like it's a lockout year. Still end in the middle of April, and then you go back to your normal schedule in 2021, 2022, and then you can play 82 games again. If you want to go back to that normal schedule, I'm all for next year you only play 65, 70 games. And then they can kind of test out, eliminate back-to-backs, and then maybe it's kind of a test year because obviously that's been proposed in the new CBA that it's a shortened season. You eliminate back-to-backs. Why don't we try that out next year? It gives an excuse. Obviously, this is going to this is going to make the NBA lose some money. The salary cap's going to drop. But I think just due to the circumstances, that's okay. We're going to obviously rebound. It's going to take some time. But I'm all for the NBA ending in early August. And then you start up, let's say, December 1st. And then you play 70 games, 60-something games, 65 games. It's quote-unquote a lockout year. It's kind of like that season. And it ends in the middle of April, and then you just start up again. Obviously, they wouldn't do this maybe because they would lose money, and then two, they don't want to have two back-to-back shortened seasons because this year would be shortened and next year. But I think due to the circumstances, you kind of have to sign off on that. Obviously, not many other leagues like we're going to have to see because the NFL looks like they're going to be on their normal schedule because their season ended perfectly in February with the Super Bowl. And their offseason is literally during the biggest time of the coronavirus. Obviously, the MLB, I think, has been suspended at least till the middle of May. I think they wanted to start in April, but they're probably not going to happen, or it's not going to start into the middle of May. And then obviously hockey is probably going to just be what around basketball is doing. But yeah, it's kind of crazy with college basketball. We're not going to get a tournament, and already a week draft as it is. It's going to be kind of a shot in the dark for a lot of these teams, or maybe they already have assessed who they want because maybe some of these top prospects weren't going to play in the tournament anyway, like a Killian Hayes, like an RJ Hampton, like a LaMelo Ball or Denny Avdija. Yeah, they were still playing overseas, but obviously that doesn't affect them too much here. Maybe they'll still play over there in the summer. Who knows? But I know like players are already declaring, like Obi Toppin of Dayton just declared they were going to be a 1 seed. It sucks for Dayton. Like, how often is Dayton that good that they're a 1 seed? This probably is going to happen one every 10 years for a team like that, and it sucks that they're not even going to have a chance to showcase themselves on a national level like that and play throughout the tournament and maybe surprise a lot of people, and maybe this could solidify Obi Toppin as a top 3 pick. We're not going to get that experience this year. But I think we all have to realize that it's going to be different now. This isn't going to be the same season, the same draft time, the same training camps, the same workouts that we've always had. It's going to be changed a little bit. And who knows, this maybe will be better for the future. Maybe we'll realize that a September or a Christmas start and ending in the beginning of August is way better than starting in the mid to end October and ending in the beginning of June. So it's different. This is going to be different. I propose, like, obviously I'm going to have different opinions than a lot of people, and a lot of people are going to have different opinions with each other. I want to start the playoffs right away. You end the regular season. I know it sucks, but you have to realize the circumstances here. I'm sorry, Pelicans fans. I'm sorry, Blazers fans. But do you really want to fight for the 8th seed and maybe just lose to LA in round 1? I don't think it's worth it like that. I don't think there's enough parity in the NBA. This isn't the MLB where the bottom seed can always win it all or go to the finals. Rarely you see an 8th seed or 7th seed go that far, and I just don't think it's worth it. Maybe just making this a whole big mess, a whole big cluster, and ending the season just like in August and having to do it next year. I think you just start it right now, especially if you were going to start the regular season again in mid-June. Yeah, you're not going to start the playoffs till the beginning of August, which means you're not going to end the playoffs till October, and that's just a mess. I think you start the playoffs as possible. You go with this Bobby Marks schedule, and then you start the regular season next year, maybe on Christmas or a little bit before then, but you don't play 82 games. You play 65, you play 70, you eliminate back-to-backs, you treat it as it was a lockout year, and then you can kind of get the you try to get back what it used to be. Because I don't think they would switch to that schedule. But yeah, you would end the season in the middle of April next year, and then you would play 65, 70 games, and then you have the draft June 20th, you have the lottery May 15th, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and you go from there. So that is my personal thought on it. I think they should just eliminate the regular season now, start the playoffs, and then next year treat it like it's a lockout year, and that is my personal opinion. But obviously a lot of people are going to be like, oh, we should play the regular season this year, oh, we should go to the Christmas to mid-June aspect, and we could do that, but we'll see what Adam Silver and the NBA is going to do. But yeah, obviously it sucks. We don't really know the ramifications of this. I'm personally like more focused, like obviously because I've heard rumors that Donald Trump might do a mandatory quarantine for America, which means roads, everything shut off for 2 weeks and everyone's going to self-quarantine. I mean, that would help. Yeah, but just think about like how we're going to have to adjust, man. You're going to be, I mean, I'm taking online classes right now and I hate it. I took 2 last semester. Business ethics I took online, it was fine, but I took a class called Management Systems and Operational Management, which is just kind of project management. It's Excel based. I took it online, hated it, but now I'm taking my 21 credits online. I don't particularly like it. I feel like I kind of doze off because I have 2 monitors, so I maybe have the lecture on, and then I'm like, oh, let me just go on Twitter on my other monitor, or let me do other homework while I'm taking this class. And I feel like I just don't pay attention as well as I would in a normal classroom. It's not as motivated, and obviously it sucks for all the seniors that are in college or in high school that kind of lost their spring eligibility. And I know the NCAA wants to give them another year. I don't know how that's going to work. Or it sucks for kind of high school baseball players that aren't going to have a chance to kind of maybe get a scholarship, or lacrosse high school players that are currently playing their senior season. And that is canceled because you kind of look forward to your senior season. That's supposed to be your send-off. You're trying to win it one last time or go to the championship one last time. Either it's your island championship, your county championships. It really sucks, and obviously the NCAA is going to have to adapt to this. We've canceled March Madness. Like, that's insane. Or these conference tournaments. Like I said, it sucks for these seniors that aren't going to be able to play anymore. Like, you take a look at Miles Powell, a senior from Seton Hall. What a season they're having, right? And they don't even get to showcase it. It really does suck. I'm personally invested in the stock market, and it's looking like a recession may be coming, which is really scary. You got to kind of figure out. I've already taken a big hit, which it's something you definitely have to keep an eye on. And the economy is going to take a hit from this, and we're going to have to bounce back, but it's going to definitely take some time. I'm personally, I'm on the aspect that you should overreact. Yes, you might be like, oh, it's just a cold, it's just a flu. Why are we overreacting? This happens to everything. Yeah, it's not as bad as the flu. No, but you have to realize you don't want to expose this to somebody that this could affect. Say you might not care if you get it. If you're 15 years old, 17 years old, you're healthy, oh, it's not going to affect you at all, and you shouldn't really be too nervous about that. But hey, you might get it, you might not know you get it. You go over to your grandma's house and she could be affected by it, or your grandpa and he could be affected by it. So you got to be careful here. And if we want this, if we want sports to come back, if we want society to get back to what it was, we all have to overreact. And as soon as we overreact, or the quicker we overreact, the quicker we can get back to normal society. But if people are still going out to bars, to restaurants, to movie theaters, and it keeps spreading, we're not going to be back to normal till another year from now. And who knows when they're going to find the vaccine. People say that's still 7 to 12 months out. But I think the society, we're kind of realizing that we should definitely go into the self-quarantine, or just social distancing. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing it. It is annoying, obviously, but it is what should be done. And quicker we do that, quicker we get out of this. I know that they're kind of, I think, canceling or shutting down restaurants and stuff like that. I think takeout only, or maybe do takeout only, and I'm sure they'll have a person limit that can go in there. Maybe they'll just have like window booths that you just drop your food off, and you're going to limit kind of hand-to-hand contact. Maybe we shouldn't just use cash anymore, because maybe it could spread there. And obviously Venmo, credit card, maybe it'll be a little bit easier. Maybe you should be the one swiping your credit card. You shouldn't be handing it off. Stuff like that. But yeah, I know if like, what if they shut down like they can't shut down hospitals, obviously, and then what are they going to shut down, like police stations? Obviously, like, you don't want crime to rise up. But I don't know. This is mainly a basketball podcast, but I did kind of want to segue into stuff I want to talk about post, I guess, this current suspension of all sports. So I had a couple ideas that I want to do, kind of sports, NBA related and not NBA related, because I think this would be fun to kind of showcase some stuff. So NBA stuff I kind of had, I want to talk about. Maybe I'll bring friends on for this because it would be fun. I want to do kind of my top player rankings. So I think it would be kind of a fun series if we ranked the top 15 point guards, shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, centers, and then finished off with the top 20 NBA players overall wise. I think that would be really fun. Team rankings, tier rankings, playoff predictions if the season ended right now. Who do I think would win it all? Who do I think would advance? I think those would be fun. My big board, I want that to come out soon, where I rank kind of maybe my top 60 college prospects. It'll be Obviously tier based. I think that would be fun to do. And then obviously maybe more mock drafts. I think I do plan on doing those, or just player rankings overall, rookie rankings, stuff like that, veteran rankings. We can do, I think, a bunch of player rankings. I think would be really fun to do, or what I want teams to do in the offseason. That's, I think, something I was going to do regardless is when the season ended. I wanted to do. I was going to do this by division, but obviously there's a playoff team from each division, so we would do it that way. But let's say the Atlantic Division, well, that's a bad one because 4 teams already made the playoffs. But you take a division, right, and how many teams didn't make the playoffs there? I want to do 3 things that I think they should do in the offseason. So we talk about the draft, we talk about free agency, we talk about trading, cuts. I take 3 things that I want to see them do in the offseason. I think that can further help their team. I think that'd be really fun. Like, I was going to do that, like the Atlantic Division, the Northwest Division, all that, but obviously, if teams make the playoffs, it'll be hard because we don't know how, obviously, these playoffs are going to go for some of these teams. But I think those would be fun. I wanted to come on with one of my friends and rank our Marvel movies. I think that would be really fun. I think they're pushing. I think they're probably pushing back the Black Widow release, but I've seen every Marvel movie, and it would be fun to rank those. Maybe ranking my favorite TV shows of all time, my favorite movies, my favorite albums. I think there's definitely a lot of stuff, and I've been only really uploading once a week, and I still have school going on, and I brought back my second channel where I'll be doing reactions and stuff like that, and tier lists, and I think I'm going to keep this once a week, and I'm sure we're going to have at least 8 weeks till the playoffs come back or the season comes back. So definitely, I think I have enough ideas for that. But yeah, you guys can definitely let me know. This will be a little bit of a shorter podcast, but I kind of wanted to just let everybody know what I thought about this and kind of where the pod is going to go in the future and kind of what to expect, and maybe inform some of you guys, or just kind of if you wanted to hear my opinion or whatever. But yeah, I think that is going to wrap it up for me. I kind of said what I would want the NBA to do. I kind of talked about kind of just the situation in general and how serious it can be, and then also my future plans with future podcasts. But yeah, that is going to wrap it up for me. Thank you all for listening. Sorry if this is a shorter episode. Next weekend, I might do my top point guard rankings. I might do that solo with my friends because obviously a lot of my friends are going to be home from school now. I'm currently at Temple, but I am going home for the weekend. And then obviously if Trump puts in that quarantine thing, I'm gonna have to pack up all my stuff from here and then go home. The reason I'm staying here for the time being is just because I'm paying rent, so I might as well. And then yeah, my girlfriend's still here, but most of my friends are home. So yeah, now I'm kind of rambling, but yeah, that'll be it for me. Thank you all for listening. If you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, I appreciate you a lot. And I think next weekend we might do our top point guard rankings, our top 20, or maybe our top 30. So yeah, we'll get into that. And yeah, I'll see you guys then. Be safe, y'all. Be healthy. Wash your hands. Social distance yourself, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace, y'all.